The infection mitigation in outpatient settings is one that started out as really focused on that early phase. There are pieces that move into some of the later phases, and with links throughout the website that help to point people in the various directions of other sections that you might find interesting. And so this also just kind of goes through a little bit of what some of those other deeper dives are with respect to the outpatient setting. The adjusting drug testing protocols I wanted to spend a minute on, because early on, this was really about, excuse me, the recommendation was to consider pausing urine drug testing. And most recently, we updated this to really now think about how do you actually conduct more limited drug testing? Under what clinical circumstances? What tools do you need, including PPE? What are the workflows that you need to really promote physical distancing and other elements related to infection control, and thinking about all those areas before really conducting more widespread drug testing. The other thing that has been added is a section on considerations for developing and addressing a differential diagnosis for when you get unexpected test results, as I think we're going to hear more about from the next two presenters. Finally, there's a section on access to buprenorphine that we'll hear about how that is getting implemented on the ground in terms of leveraging telehealth, how to manage prescriptions and refills, what the role of psychosocial treatment is at this point, ensuring adequate supplies. At one point, we were hearing that pharmacies were actually no longer able to fill prescriptions because the prescriptions were for so much longer that they were running out of their stock. There's some harm reduction and the considerations for really high-risk patients. There also is a section on access to care in opioid treatment programs that runs through considerations for policies and procedures, some of the federal regulatory changes that we've seen, considerations for documentation that I have found particularly useful in my own work, staffing challenges, etc. The most recent guidance that's been posted on medication dosages and formulations speaks to some of the considerations for medication selection, considerations for various different formulations and dosages of buprenorphine. There have been many questions around the injectable forms of buprenorphine as well as naltrexone, and how the providers should be really thinking about how to either continue that, how to switch to that, and what are some of the issues needed, and so what are some of the practices needed in order to be able to safely do that. There also is a section on considerations for alcohol withdrawal management. ASAM actually quickly released its newly approved national guideline on alcohol withdrawal management, and it did so actually ahead of schedule given the COVID crisis. And finally, there's a piece on considerations for dosages and formulations for nicotine cessation medications in that section as well. These are, it's a very quickly evolving and rapidly moving situation that we find ourselves in. And unfortunately, it is not a situation, I think, that is going to resolve quickly. So the issues that are going to come up are going to change. So the guidance has to change. And we really want to hear from the field, from all of you, as to what you're experiencing, what challenges you're having, what successes you're having, what you're finding particularly useful. So please reach out to our Maryland DC State Chapter, as Nishant has mentioned, and covid@asam.org is the email address for your questions, your concerns, your ideas. And if anybody is interested in helping to produce some of the guidance that we and either update or produce new guidance or has ideas for other guidance, please let me know, and please send your email to covid@asam.org.